And I don't have a number to call him. And I don't have a number to call him from, so I have to wait for him.
Whip, whip, whip.
Hello?
Is this Nina?
Yes, this is.
Hey, Nina, it's Joe Goodwin. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for taking time this morning to talk.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so first, if you could, just for some background on this, um, could you kind of explain to me, from your point of view, what has transpired to lead us to today?
Yes. So, as I mentioned in my notice to vacate that I sent via certified mail to the Reserve San Antonio, I pointed out the issues in the maintenance repairs since basically August when my lease first started. Amongst me and my roommates, we put in many maintenance requests for the AC not functioning during the hot summer heat as well as during the Texas freeze. And out of our dozens of requests, we never got any actually fulfilling repairs from maintenance. Maintenance entered our home without mask many times, with the acknowledgement that my roommate Jack also was immunocompromised and had cancer at the time. In addition to that, because the AC was not functioning for so long, we had to continue to get repairs. One day, the maintenance came in to repair our AC, and the way they left it, my roommate saw much later, so probably 7 months later, as they had been in and out of our apartment trying to fix these repairs. Mind you, these are not the only repairs we had requested. We had errors with my toilet. My toilet overflowed into my entire apartment room, like out of the bathroom and into my room. In addition to that, we also had issues with our lights. We had issues with our blinds. The maintenance was not responsive. We had to wait 3 days for AC in August when we first moved into our apartment. Our first apartment was not even our original apartment because the first apartment was not ready for us. And there was no empathy. There was no, here's an accommodation for you. Here's an alternative housing for you. Here's some kind of incentive for your inconvenience. There was no anything like that. It was basically just, okay, well, here's our situation, and this is what we're gonna do. And if you're gonna have not gonna have AC for 3 days, then you're not gonna have AC for 3 days. That's ridiculous. That's uninhabitable. Nobody should have to live in an apartment with no AC. Following that, Jack saw in the AC unit that under where there's a trap to catch water, that there was an entire air filter in the water, all folded up in the water. That picture is attached in the notice to vacate. And you can see there's very clearly mold growing on the AC filter in the water that is seeping into the AC vents now. On top of that, there was exposed wires dangling over the water. It was just a huge hazard, a huge safety hazard. So following that, Jack relays this information to his mom, and Jack's mom advises us to check all of the AC vents because seeing that there is mold in the actual unit itself, that could obviously go into all of the AC vents. As soon as we check all the AC vents, we see that there's black mold in every single air vent in our apartment. We took pictures of all of these things, and following that, we had, I basically was like, this is not a place that I can live in. This is unsafe for me to live in. Jack and my roommate Sam both went to the doctor, and they both realized that they had respiratory issues as well as myself, but they have licensed doctor notes stating that we have respiratory issues now because of the black mold in our apartment that has been there for 7 months. The way that I know it's been 7 months since it's been in there is because per our maintenance request, the property itself put in a maintenance request in September saying that there was mold in the interior. To me, and also this screenshot is in the notice to vacate as well. I can send you a copy if you'd like. In the notice to vacate, it says that in the maintenance request put in by property, there is mold in the interior. To me, that shows that there is an acknowledgement that that the property was aware that there is mold in my apartment and there was no resolution to it. They did not move us out of our apartment into a new place. They only asked to clean the mold way after we put pressure on them, after I sent them a notice to vacate. And to me, that's way too late. Per the Texas property code, I am allowed to give you all 7 reasonable days as in a reasonable amount of time to fix a repair. I have given you all months and months upon months of me living without AC, without any of the things that I pay for in my lease every single month. So that's how we got here.
Okay. And once you moved out, from there, the team followed their procedures and then sent you a bill, and that's when you reached out to HTU?
That is when I sent out a notice to vacate from myself as someone who was current on my rent. And I filed that all of the complaints that I had, all of the major complaints that I had about the situation which I just mentioned to you, and all of the reasons that led to there's black mold in my apartment for 7 months. I sent that via certified mail to the Reserve San Antonio, and following that, I got in contact with HTU, and they have been supporting me in my decisions along the way.
Okay. So I have everything in front of me, just so you're aware. I have your work order details from September 1st all the way through June 11th. Essentially, anytime anything comes into the office, we keep record of it. So I have that in front of me. There's a total of 29 requests, but not all of it has anything to do with AC. Some of it's dryer related.
Correct. This is combined between myself and Jack Delaplane.
So I have that.
Okay.
I also have I have 2 reports in front of me. One is from the environmental group that did the assessment. And then I also have the assessment from the group that we had come clean the unit. It looks as though we attempted to clean while you were still there, but in between, and we were told to leave because there was pending COVID tests.
Correct.
And y'all didn't want anybody in the unit, so we actually ended up coming back, but it seems like after that, you had already left.
That is correct.
Or vacated the unit. At least that's the timeline that I'm seeing through the paperwork.
That is correct.
So, first off, the environmental report that you supplied to us, the type of fungi mentioned is not black mold. And that's what's being represented by HTU and by you.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever lived in an apartment with black mold or any kind of fungi at all? That's a yes or no question.
No, but
okay. So unless you have lived in an apartment with excuse me, unless you have lived in an apartment with fungi yourself, you will never understand the experiences and how it affects your health personally. It has actually given us what we thought was COVID symptoms, which is why we got a COVID test around the same time, because we were having actual respiratory issues to where we thought it was so similar to COVID. We went and got tested and those were negative. And that's when we said, okay, you can come clean, but I'm leaving because this is not a place that I can stay in anymore.
So, but help me, let's just talk person to person here. Let's not get defensive about it.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just asking you a question.
Okay. So, the reference to black mold everywhere is a little disingenuous because the type of fungi found in the unit is naturally occurring, okay? And there's the report itself said that the amount inside is less than than the amount found outside. Would you agree with that statement?
I honestly would not know because I did not do the report on that, which is what that's for.
But you read the report, right?
I read the report and I saw also what's inside my vents, which is not dust. So
Okay.
I sent pictures in that notice to vacate as well as the AC vent with in the water.
Did you
I'm
do
not sure if
any
you can see that.
research on what those terms meant that was mentioned in that report?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Did you do any research on those types of fungi?
I didn't because I was already
And
experiencing health
one thing
problems.
to be clear on, there's no mention of mold on the reports. It's fungi. And what I'm trying to get at is, listen, I've been doing this a long time, and there's a specific type of mold, if one of these reports are done, that will pop up in a report that is black mold, which is very serious. Not to say any type of fungi is not serious.
Okay, then I really don't understand why you're asking me this question if you already know that any sort of fungi in an apartment is serious.
No. What I'm trying to get at is at the levels present in the unit, the outside environment, according to the report, has more. So it's
Why is that? How is that relevant to our agreement right now?
well, because I want to talk to you about it because it seems like the defining message from you and HTU is that you are being taken advantage of because you had black mold in your unit that we did not take care of.
It was a long list of things, including the black mold, which I also just explained to you. The reason why there was black mold, to my knowledge, is because the AC was never working, fully functioning in my entire lease. So that's probably why there was black mold in the first place. So regardless of the black mold, I should never have to pay any money or any lease to get or any fees to get out of my lease for not having functioning AC.
But you're saying you continue to say you have black mold, but the environmentalist you hired to inspect your unit said there was no black mold in the unit.
Okay, but did you not just say that any sort of fungi in an apartment is dangerous?
No, I did not say that. I said any amount of fungi in a unit can become a problem if it's not taken care of.
Right, but it wasn't taken care of. That's my point. It was not taken care of, and we had literal licensed doctors tell us that we are developing asthma and respiratory issues.
Wrote those letters assuming that you had black mold in your unit.
Okay, no, they took actual test of our lungs to see the residue that was left from the effects that we were getting from our AC.
Black mold from your lungs.
Okay, I really don't appreciate this. I have set no, excuse me, I'm speaking. I have set very clear demands with you from the very, very beginning. As I said, my demands are very clear. I would like all of the entire $2,503.05 dropped against me. I would like to be let out of my lease immediately, and we will have no other issues.
Okay. So here's a couple things. It's hard because we can't even agree on like the crux of the issue. The clients are willing to work with you, but in order for us to do that, we have to get, we got to be on the same playing field, and it seems like we can't even get to that point.
No, it really seems like as someone who is not a tenant, aka you, I think that you are trying to speak for me as someone who did not ever live in that apartment that I'm speaking about. No.
I'm just referencing the backup in the same documents that you have. And, the only thing I can say is if you're going to stick to your guns, right? And the only thing you will accept is the demand you gave us, then, you're going to have to do what you have to do, and then our clients will pursue their procedures and collections. There's nothing else I can help you with.
No,
I want,
but there actually is, because you could just meet my demands and you could very easily just drop the charges like I asked, and HTU will remove any post and any mention of Asset Living or the Reserve San Antonio, and we can move past this with a clean slate, and I will never mention you all again.
yeah, I mean, but here's the deal: we're not going to be bullied because we
I
have.
didn't say we were bullying you. I just asked to meet my
I
demands.
mean, I've looked at some of the posts they've been putting out. It's
Oh
borderline.
no, they're just addressing the situation very
No,
explicitly.
but they're saying, but under the pretense that there's black mold. I mean, did they even look at the letter that the
Oh, they
environmentalists?
did. They did.
Okay, so they're knowingly putting out false information.
Oh no, I've put out the information that I've received and experienced myself. So
I
I've
guess
posted all of these things, and that's the knowledge that everyone else
it,
has come to.
I guess what I'm saying is HTU knowingly deceiving their followers to get behind a campaign that they know that the information they're giving them is
They
incorrect.
could not be deceiving anybody because I've been the one making all the decisions for this campaign.
I know, but HTU's
So
it,
trying to blame Houston Tenants Union for any of this is
well, no,
irresponsible on your part, as you're still avoiding accountability for this situation.
no, they're the ones putting out disinformation about black mold in your unit, not you.
No, I have been, me and Jack and Sam and Samson and every person that has been living in my unit has been mentioning this for months via the portal that you guys recommended for maintenance requests, via the phone, via email. It took us so long to even get to you. We talked to Sydney Corey. We talked to all the general managers at the property itself. We tried many ways to get out of this long before we reached you. I honestly would not like to deal with this at all. I would just like to have my needs met, my
Okay.
demands met, so that I can move past this.
Yeah, so that's not how this works, though. Like, you don't demand something and get it
But
with
it's because you
there.
broke the lease. It's not just
No,
because I feel like it. It's because you guys are
no.
in breach of your lease.
Well, you broke the lease once you moved out.
Correct, but I sent a notice to vacate as to why I moved out, and because it was unlivable for me to live in per the Texas property code.
Yeah, but there's okay. So I mean, if that's what you're going to hang your hat on, that's fine. Um, I just want to be sure that you understand that once we hang up today, if we don't find a resolution, I mean, the procedures for collections will be followed, and you know, whatever happens on, from a, you know, I guess outside perspective can happen, but at the same time, like the client and asset, you know, won't be, targeted or bullied with disinformation.
Nobody is targeting or bullying you. I'm just asking to have my demands met, like I said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're willing to talk to you about it, but we got to be on the same page.
I'm just wondering what other resolution you are looking for. Can I ask that?
So I pulled up your final account statement, um, and there seems to be a couple of how did the TV get broken? Well, who broke the TV? What happened there?
I honestly am not genuinely sure, but that can be replaced. The TV can be replaced.
And the microwaves?
The microwave was working to all of our knowledge as soon as we left, and everything was cleaned as soon as we left.
Okay. Um, and then,
And the blinds were not working since the day we moved in.
okay. Well, I do see a blind work order in the system, so that could be an oversight. That could be adjusted. No problems with that. Um, the ownership in the past, as well as asset living, is very sensitive to, working with residents that need help or assistance in times like this. So under that, guise, if we needed to do that, we could certainly do that. The next step would be essentially for me to go back to ownership and see how much of the balance they would be willing to forgive on your behalf. But I can tell you they are not going to do that with the current volume of, the outside distractions.
And like I said, that's perfectly fine. If I can pay the TV replacement fee and nothing else, HTU will delete all the posts and any mention of asset living or the Reserve San Antonio. But I need that in writing.
I'm going to need some good faith from you because, number one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a hold of them today because it's Friday going into Father's Day weekend.
He has until the picket at 3:30.
Okay. But I can't go to them with a recommendation with a cloud hanging over their head of the site continuing to be targeted.
Then it might be in their best interest to make the right decision, I think. But like I said, I have no problem paying the replacement TV fee. I understand that could have been me and my tenant's responsibility, so I have no problem taking care of that. But any of the other fees are not my responsibility, as that was not a livable apartment for me to be living in. So like I said, HTU has no problem deleting any of the posts or any mention of you guys, but I will need all of that in writing from you before any of that happens.
What about some of these other charges?
Like I said, we cleaned everything and everything was left exactly as it was, and then we left.
What about the rent portion of the balances?
That's what I mean, that I am not responsible for that. If I'm leaving my lease early, I should not be responsible for paying 2 months of rent in a place that has given me respiratory issues, regardless of if it was from black mold or not. I have respiratory issues from living there. It's not fit for me to live in.
Well, there's 3 months of rent on the final account statement.
Right. So in my notice to vacate, I said that I submitted a prorated amount of rent for the month of May. So I paid 2 months or 2 weeks of 2 weeks of May's rent, and I left very soon after that. I left even before the 2 weeks was up.
Okay. And then there's the roulette fee.
Yeah, I'm asking that all of those be waived.
Okay. Okay. Here's what I'll do. I can ask for that. However, I'm only going to ask for that if the outside distractions stop now. Meaning, before I pick up the phone and call them, I want to see everything gone.
Until I see that in writing, I cannot do that.
Okay, so I think that's where we're at a standstill because we can't be.
If I just get it in writing, that is not an issue at all. I just need that in writing.
Nina, candidly, from their standpoint, they have a contract. These balances are legit. Okay? They're willing to work with you, but the things that have been done over the past week or so
are a direct cause of your property's mistreatment. I would not have to do anything. I would not even have to contact a tenants union unless these mans were demet 7 months ago. Okay, so because I have no guarantee, because I have no guarantee that if HTU deletes the post online that you will keep your word and drop the fees, I will need to have that in writing, or we will not be canceling the picket or removing the posts.
I'm not concerned about the picket. I'm not concerned about the post. Because I've already told you that if we can't work through this, the procedures with collections will move forward.
Okay, and I have until June 21st for that, so I hope that wouldn't be applied today or in the near future.
What do you mean?
Per the statement that the Reserve San Antonio gave me, I had 30 days from May 21st to pay the fees.
Oh yeah, that's correct. And then at that time, the procedures kick in where collections guarantor and the tenant.
Correct, unless you all drop the fees.
Yeah, but we're not going to do that under current circumstances. So we're going round and round with this.
But excuse me, Joe, my thing is that we don't need to go round and round in this. I think it's very easy for you to just type up something in writing to submit to HTU or myself, or in addition to the property management, and say, hi, I would like to drop these specific charges from Nina's bill. Nina will be responsible for paying the TV replacement bill. And and following that, HTU will delete all posts and mention of your property, and we will leave this alone. I don't understand why this is a difficult process for you.
You need to look at it. You're looking at it from a lens of...
I'm looking at it from a lens of, as a tenant who experienced this firsthand.
Okay. So I think we're at a standstill. I mean, I want to work through this with you, but if we can't even get to a point where we're on the same page of being reasonable about kind of the process moving forward, you do what you have to do, and then, I'll advise the client to move forward with his procedures.
Okay.
Okay? Sorry we couldn't come to a agreement.
Oh, me too.
Bye-bye.